Good morning. Welcome to day 16 of Daily Habit. We have been reading over the last basically 7 days prior, a book by Brad Stulberg. The title's Master of Change: How to Excel When Everything is Changing, Including You. I actually was able to put it in a playlist yesterday, so if you're wanting to kind of watch the items kind of in succession for the Cliff Notes, because really what we're doing is it's kind of a summary or the Cliff Notes version of the Master of Change: How to Excel When Everything is Changing, Including You. We've gone through thus far the 10 tools for developing rugged flexibility. We've gone through the idea of embracing non-dual thinking, adopting a being orientation, frequently updating your expectations to match your reality, practicing tragic optimism while committing to wise hope and taking wise action, actively differentiating and integrating your sense of self, viewing the world with independent and interdependent lenses, and then yesterday, responding to change with the 4 Ps. So today, we will be discussing a concept, number 8, which is lean on routines and rituals to provide stability during periods of disorder. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe so we can continue to offer you more. And I hope you're having, this is a Thursday, hoping you're having a great Thursday. And let's get started. Routines offer a sense of predictability and stability when everything around you is changing. I agree with that. Sometimes, and it's a little bit opposite of some of the things we've been talking about, but sometimes just knowing what to do gives you kind of a sense of comfort. It's kind of like a warm blanket, right? Or a fireplace. So you can get a warm blanket and you have a fire going. It's comfortable, right? They also help you to activate by automating decisions. So you need not rely as much on willpower and motivation. I think that's like my morning coffee. It's like a habit now, which we were discussing before. You shouldn't make it too much of a habit, right? Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So I probably have more coffee than most, but at the same time, I do limit myself to one French press pot in the morning, and that's it. And then, of course, others would say that's way too much, and I also make it rather strong. I do about 5 tablespoons of coffee for the French press pot, so that's probably very strong by most people's standards. So it's something to think about. Always need to consider, are you doing too much, too little? All right, so you activate by automating decisions, so you need not rely as much on willpower and motivation, both of which tend to be in short supply during significant difficulties. That's probably very true. But here's the catch. Although routines can be magical, there is no magic routine. What works for one person might not work for others. The best way to develop an optimal routine is through astute self-awareness and experimentation. Pay attention to what you do and what you get out of it. It's beneficial to develop routines and their close cousin, rituals, during times of relative stability. This way, they'll be well worn and easy to call upon when chaos strikes. There are, of course, certain behaviors that are near universally effective, such as exercise, sleep, and social engagement. But even then, there is no optimal time. place or way to engage in these behaviors. You know, that's interesting. One of the things for my sons, I always was telling them about kind of the stress levels of my work. And I was explaining to them that you need to find outlets for that stress so that that stress doesn't kill you, right? That's the thinking. So, you know, the running that I was doing and running the marathons, things of that nature, it was a way to kind of get the stress out and also disconnect from the stress, from the events, from your, because sometimes when you're stressed, right, you then start playing back all the things you need to do or all the things you should have done, all these, you start like kind of having this kind of obsessive thing going on. And so the exercise is a nice way to kind of disconnect and get that ritual, right? That routine that you look forward to. So like I was saying before, currently, almost on a daily basis, not every day, but pretty much almost every day, we take a walk. Now, my wife is very, very good at kind of that routine and ritual, whereas myself, I kind of have to be nudged a lot, unfortunately. So that's something I constantly work on, which is, okay, let's go. And so by building that routine, you have something to fall back on. So there are, of course, as they're saying, these kinds of things. But even then, there is no optimal time, place, or way to engage in these behaviors. You've got to figure out what works for you. So ultimately, I agree with that. It doesn't work for everyone, right? There's also a danger in becoming overly attached to your routine. So that's one of the things I would say with my wife is she kind of demands that sort of level of structure, whereas I'm more of an unstructured person. But I've become a lot more structured as I've gotten older and as I've been with her longer as well in our marriage, which is good. So I've come kind of to the middle, and she's come a little bit to the middle, but probably not as much as I have. I just think that's just natural, right, in a marriage. It's a quick piece of humor. When we went to get married, we were down at the courthouse getting the documents. There was an older gentleman there who was the court clerk. And he said, do you know what the two words are for a long, the two words you need to know for a long marriage? And I said, well, how long have you been married? So I've been married over 50 years. And I'm like, 50 years? Holy crap. And I said, no, I don't know. He said, yes, dear. And I'm like, got it. Okay. So in that regard, typically, honestly, she usually is right. But if you can figure out a way to just say, yes, dear, it makes your life much happier. So there's also a danger of becoming overly attached to routine. If for whatever reason you can't stick to it, you're traveling, your special coffee shop closes, whatever elixir you order from your favorite podcast advertising goes out of business, you won't know what to do. So that's that concept of flexibility, right? If you become so rigid in your routine, then it can be a problem for you. So be willing to pivot, be willing to adjust, be willing to have more than one option. It's like a Zen koan. The first rule of routines is to develop one and stick with it. The second rule is to be okay with releasing from it. So I thought this was a good one today, and I think I went a little bit long. I was making some jokes there and being kind of silly. We're getting close to the end of this book, but I think this one, I think a lot of us understand this one, hopefully. Basically, the idea is build some sense of fallbacks and things that you can use to kind of help ground you during really stressful events, whether they're in your life, whether they're in your workplace, just whether they're in your environment, whatever it is that's stressing you out. What can you do? What kind of routine or ritual can you possibly move into to help you kind of bring your, your blood pressure down, bring your heart rate, put your mind in a more Zen-like state, right? So excellent. I think today, tomorrow, we will be going over the 9th concept. Let me open the book here again. The 9th concept, which is called using behavioral activation. And then our last day, which will be on Saturday, will be number 10, which is don't force meaning and growth. Let them come on their own time. And I probably think that's maybe the most important one. You even think about what I'm trying to do here, right? Like, and it's kind of humorous, the one that we just read, like, don't get too upset if I can't do this every single day, this video. It's okay. Make adjustments, go along. And don't try to force it. Let it come naturally. If you're enjoying it, keep doing it. So that's what I've been doing here so far. And thanks again, everybody, for hanging out with me. I hope that you're having a great Thursday morning. I hope that you have a great rest of your week. And God bless. Make it a great day. See you tomorrow.